chart that will be covered. These changes will be covered within the budget currently as they sit. They will not be an additional increase to the budget for FY25, but would obviously be an increase for FY26. Would not be the status quo for 26. So when you're looking in finance, you have a change of a title from a budget analyst to a budget and financial planning manager. You have a change for the procurement manager. This was a procurement director position. It is being changed to a manager position, as procurement was originally its own department. They've now moved it up under finance, so it would become a manager versus a director. And then also the buyer under that position as well. And the last but not least is the additional customer service specialist that's added to the front to the utility billing department. Those are the changes for finance, proposed for finance. For innovation and technology, we have 2 positions that are a title change as well. They are a technical support supervisor and then a network and system analyst. And then they are also requesting 2 additional people to replace the 2 promotions that you saw above. With Public Works, Transportation and Public Works, originally the Streets Department had 7 employees in it. They are taking one of those positions that has been vacant since January and moving it up to the workflow coordinator position, so it does not increase the overall FTE position. Questions, thoughts, comments on those charts? Or do you want to wait till I should have asked you? I'm sorry.
Let's go to the end. Come
Let's
back
go.
and ask
Okay,
questions.
that's fine. All right. So that is discussing the general fund. Next, we'll move to the grant fund. There's no change for community development, and there's no change for the building fund, as you can see here. For the grant fund, we're going from $2,015,000, increasing it by $264,069 to $2,279,069. Basically, that's recognizing various grants that were not budgeted for originally in the year that we got either after the fiscal year started, or items that cannot be paid until the expenses have been incurred. For an example, the CDBG housing grant, right? It was stuff that was not eligible. I'm sorry. That was in general fund, my apologies. The $60,000 for the CDBG housing redevelopment, it's a reimbursement. You can't submit it until the expenses have been made. So it's just recognizing that coming in. $110,000 is for cybersecurity. And then there's also $25,000 for a drone replacement grant that was received. PD received theirs last year, but fire unfortunately, yes, fire did not get theirs until this fiscal year. And then we also added 2 grants, which is the JAG grant and the Patrick Leahy Bulletproof Vest, both of which are grants in the PD department, which are, again, those that are expenditures first, and then we can. And for the JAG grant, I can tell you that that was for radar signs that the PD department purchased. Moving on to the Fire Department fund, we are going from $6,958,400. We are actually decreasing their budget by $13,000, giving them an ending budget of $6,945,400. What they are doing there is we are increasing the revenues by $72,000 for healthcare surplus distribution from FY24, and we are decreasing the projected carry forward from 24 to 25. So when we started, we started the budget process this time frame. We're estimating, looking at expenditures, and we overestimated. And so now we're making that match and reducing the revenues and expenditures. So that's coming out of, they're taking that $85,000 reduction out of reserves. However, it does still leave the required 15%. So we had originally budgeted a little bit more than the 15% in reserves for the fire department. $72,000 is being added in overtime due to a higher than expected trend. And then $1,000 is being moved between various line items to support proposed salary changes. And I apologize, I should have made a little slide for this, but there is a proposed, I believe there was a memo that went out to the council from Fire Chief that there was non-union members who have not, who were not covered by the union negotiations. So you're looking at, for the chief, fire chief, you're looking at 8.1%. For the division chiefs, you have 3 of them, you're looking at 18%, and the inspector at 11%. That would only be 5% that would be allocated in this year, and then the remaining percentage would be added to the budget in FY26. No changes to the cemetery fund, the debt services fund. There are no changes to the admin fee, impact fee fund. For the parks impact fee fund, we are increasing the budget by $33,075, taking it from $1,105,600 to $1,138,675. What does that account for? That is for truing up the carry forward funds for projects that were not completed in FY24 and carried forward to FY25, which are related to the Cherry Lake Park project, and specifically the CCTV portion of that project. For discretionary sales surtax, discretionary sales surtax is going from $3,790,000 to $600, and increasing it by $452,300 to $4,242,900. What did we do? Again, several projects that were budgeted for FY24, purchase orders that were opened, projects were not completed, merchandise, whatever, did not come in, products did not come in FY24, not until FY25. We also postponed due to manpower and reevaluating the projects that were under the discretionary fund and seeing, where are we standing with that? Are we truly ready to move forward with that? So in looking at that, we were able to support $850,000 from various projects to support half of the cost of the ladder truck, as well as $100,000 for the equipment that needs to go onto the ladder truck. So some of those POs that I talked about that rolled forward from FY24 to 25, that's encompassing some of that carry forward, was $420,000 is for the fuel depot project that is at the public safety building, as well as $30,000 for the repair to the Lake David docket here at Lake David. The Live Well, the impact fee, police, and fire, there are no changes to those funds. The public safety complex, there's no change. The next one we're going to do is the Live Well Grant Foundation. So the budget will decrease overall by $1,354,775.38, taking it down to $1,664,824.62. Why are we doing that? Again, we talked about we're looking at the budget season now in July, August timeframe for workshops. Expenditures were not coming in at that time for those projects. What is in that, just to refresh everyone's memory, is the Elise Tomlin Center and the Gatson Trail project. So we're reducing $25,333 for the Gatson Trail project, and then the remaining $1,335,23.25 is for the Elise Tomlin. So again, it's just matching up those carry forwards because the expenses didn't come in until end of August, September timeframe. There is also $5,581,000 that's being moved to reserves. It is from the portion of we have the lovely fitness center or fitness pad out at Cherry Lake. It was money that was given to us as a grant from Live Well that did not get expended. So costs came in under what we were awarded, but we put it into reserves so that they have it. If they want to do additional items down there, they have the money, they have some money to put towards that. The next thing is the capital lease fund. We are actually reducing the capital lease fund by the full amount of $3,143,400. That is because we identified alternative funding sources for the ladder truck for the fire department, and then as well as a clam truck, which is what was budgeted in here to lease as opposed to purchasing outright. So we moved it around, don't have to do the lease. South Lake Regional Park, we are reducing South Lake Regional Park by $1 million. So we're going from $16,686,400 to $15,686,400. That is to reflect a lower estimated loan amount based on updated project bid amounts received that we've already received. The Fire Station 3 Construction Fund and the Ronald Sefton Gaffney are receiving no changes in this budget adjustment. Maybe. My slides will move forward. There. All right, and the utility fund operations side of things, we're going from $18,181,200, increasing it by $111,000, giving you a revised budget of $18,292,200. What is encompassing that? It is $80,000 in reimbursement for damages to city utilities and $31,000 for the healthcare surplus distribution from FY 2024. The increase on the expenditure side is $80,000 being added for Hurricane Milton damage to fencing at the lift stations. So we have to redo the fences around the lift stations, in addition to $31,000 for additional communications on projects and utility rates. And then there is $66,300 being moved between various line items to support a new receiver for water meter readings, the utility operations building, which is a Clean Water SRF project. This is local funds that are not covered, or the match that the city has to do. And then retirement and the lift station 8 repair. Then there's $1,000 being moved between lines, which goes back to what I had originally showed you under finances side for the one increase under the utility billing department for the ladies up at the front. For grant, there's no changes to the water impact fees, the sewer impact fees, or the non-grant financed capital. The next one we have a change on is the grant funded capital. We are increasing by $632,500. That consists with the vulnerability grant proceeds, and the project will be reduced by $91,500 as the funds were expended in FY 24. You have the St. John's Water Management District grant proceeds, and the project budget for the Sunshine Lower Florida and Reclaim Well will be increased by $724,000 as the project was not originally budgeted for in FY 25. You also have the lift station bypass pump project budget will reduce by $100 to align the revenues with the expenditures. The next change is Fund 405. We are increasing it by $659,360.18, giving you a revised budget of $2,775,160.18. That is a $659,660.18 increase in carry forward funds from FY 24 to FY 25, and then a reduction of $300 in the revenues to align the revenues with expenditures for the SRF projects. So on the expense side, you're seeing $659,360 being rebudgeted, along with $15,076 that's been moved between various lines within the budget, for a variety of purchase orders that rolled forward from 24 to 25. And then also $18,178 is being moved to support the Villa City project for items that are not eligible under that grant. And then the reduction in reserves of $5,358, which is unassigned reserves of $5,358 to align the expenses with revenues for the SRF projects and interest earnings. And then the other remaining funds, 406, 407, 408, 409, 411, 12, 13, and 14 have no changes to them. So overall, you are taking your budget from $327,541,591.37 to $325,571.95.17. So it's a reduction of $1,970,000 $496.20. With that, I will turn it back over to you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. That was very well covered. Let's go around with any questions. You're the numbers lady.
Yeah, I asked most of my questions at, when we had our meeting. Just so everybody knows, when we take grant money and put it in reserves, are we giving that money back or are we saving it? Can we reallocate it to more for that project?
So that's, again, just like I had said, you're absolutely right. We don't give it back.
Never give it back.
We don't give it back. We put it so that the other projects didn't claim it, and Mr. Walker still had the money to put towards something else.
Beautiful, thank you.
Right?
We had talked about that as well, Amy, thank you. I just, real quick, when we were talking about you're moving somebody, I don't know whether, under utilities, talking about moving people around, it was on the org chart. Somebody was going to be a workflow coordinator. That one. So when you move somebody from the maintenance worker position into the workflow coordinator, I know it's a title change. Is there a salary change in that in any regard?
So there would be a salary change is, oh, there you are. Where is TJ? TJ, you want to address that? I'll let TJ address that as the.
Thank you.
Thank you. TJ Fish, Director of Transportation Public Works. To your question, yeah, there is a slight salary difference. We usually hire in with this particular maintenance position. It was originally a $16 per hour position that had gained a little bit over a couple of years. We've looked to hire in the workflow coordinator more in the $20 to $22 range. We have not had that position paid since 1st of January. So this year's budget is more than adequate. We would not be adding the workflow coordinator until late August, early September. And as I'd mentioned previously at the Public Works budget, the need for the administrative support and that infrastructure supersedes even the person out in the field doing the work at the moment. Once we get the infrastructure in place, we can begin to slowly expand our team. But yeah, slight difference of just a couple dollars an hour.
Okay, thank you very much. Other than that, the meeting with April and Pam was pretty detailed. I think my notes that we took during that time frame pretty much answer any questions that I had. Thank you, TJ.
Very good. Thank you, TJ. Those few dollars, that's a 25% increase, right? From 16 to 22? Yeah. So maybe more than just a few dollars. So next year, will that this position vanishes forever, right? And you're moving one position out and then making another position. So next year's budget will not reflect that street maintenance worker at all?
It is not, and although we have an aspiration to add workers for that department, it really comes down to final policy decisions. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. How much, April, how much of the revenues that we have just seen were non-reoccurring? Like, I seem to hear health rebate in a lot of departments, and I don't know that that'll happen every year, but we're using that as a basis for adding things. Is that non-reoccurring or is that reoccurring?
So the healthcare specifically would be non-reoccurring. It is something that the city is self-insured, what is considered self-insured. FY24 was a good year for the city of Groveland as a whole for claims. And so when you have something like that, not everybody that was in the pool was eligible for that reimbursement, so to speak. So when you have things like that, it's a benefit that comes back to the city that we have funds, or that we have additional funds. But to answer your question, it would be a non-reoccurring revenue.
So we're booking an expense against something that might not be there next year, right? I mean, because we're saying we've got this surplus.
Correct.
Okay.
And yes.
Okay. The fire station, $9,200,000. Is that a solid figure?
That is not, I do not believe that that is the final number that we have done, because I believe we just have gotten that information from them. I know Chief is in here. Chief?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, the GMP, or the guaranteed maximum pricing that was in the presentation given by the AJAC contractor was $9.78 million for the fire station, correct?
So we need to make up another $500,000 right now, right? Is that, 9.2 is what we have on here, so we're, got a deficit of,
No, it's not all being spent this budget year, but that was the total cost of the fire station, if that's what you're asking.
yeah,
But
I'm just looking, you want to go back to that sheet? I'm just, because maybe I'm not seeing it right. My glasses are fogged up a little bit.
Oh, there you go, the
Fire Station 3 Construction Fund, 9.2, so should that be 9.7 now?
No, because we're not going to expend all of that. Remember, when you're looking at it, yes, it is something to consider because the cost did end up coming out as 9.7, but it's not something that we're going to expend all of that in this year. It'll be carried forward into FY '26 and proceeding, or hopefully just FY '26.
Okay, good. So we're going to expend $9.2 million this year.
We don't even anticipate expending 9.2.
Okay, so, but it's in the current budget.
That is what is in the current budget. That was what we best budgeted the estimated cost at, just to show an estimation of what we thought the project was going to come in at. You know, through further stuff, we ended up coming in higher.
Okay, I'm not going to confuse myself anymore because the estimate's an estimate, right? So the different title, well, let me just say rate presentation. Train Depot, I still have a question. I don't know that anybody here has voted on the $350,000 going there. I think it's going to have to be, is that a CRA vote, the extra $350 going to the train depot? I'm all for it, but I just don't remember seeing it come by the council.
No, sir. So they have not sold the land yet. That is not. That money is projected to go into the general fund, not into the CRA fund.
Okay.
Because the city owns the land that we're selling, not the CRA. So it would come to general fund.
Okay, thank you for that. And lastly, I'd like to ask a big favor. If we look at our charter, it outlines very clearly how the budget should be presented, right? And it goes in, and I'm just old school, and maybe this is a new way of doing it, but it goes into having actual expenses against actual estimated cost against actual, I mean, there's in preceding year, fiscal year comparisons. It's written in our charter. Is there any difficulty for us following the prescription that we have here, that we're prescribed to do in the charter?
So when we do that, just like when I presented in the budget workshops that we did with the departments, or the department workshops, whichever way we want to call it, which kind of covered budget, right? We did give you a high-level expenditure, you know, what was actually spent in the year, and then also what we budgeted. So I believe for the last year, we did what was actually budgeted, where we stand year to date.
I think where we got a disconnect, April, maybe I'm wrong, is I'd like to see actual against actual. A budget is a theoretical number, right? So I'd like to see last year's actual, what we actually spent, against where we are this year, what we're actually spending. The budget is really what we've guaranteed the public that we're not going to overspend, or that's our commitment. But what we actually spend sometimes are a little different. And the reason, you know, that I'm a little bit a stickler on this is things like labor. When we're moving things around and stuff, all I have to look at is the labor. If, you know, I don't care how many FTEs there are. FTEs you don't take to the bank. You know, FTEs don't cost money, what we pay those FTEs, so we can compare that against the growth of the overall, you know, revenue. So maybe just take a look at it and see if there's going to be any issues with maybe following that for the next presentation.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it so much. I appreciate all the hard work you've done on this. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. I'm so sorry, Vice Mayor. Go for it.
Well, I appreciate meeting with April and Pam, and I am one that asks many questions. And there are some very good deeds or actions or event that are in this budget. Very good. But there are some things that I have issues with. So my question is to the attorney. Overall, okay, but if I have specific concerns, let's just take like personnel out of this, excluding police, fire, whatever, but a section on personnel. Can I vote to approve the budget? Can I vote not to approve the budget because of some of the concerns that I have in some of the department personnel?
So the budget amendment for this fiscal year is being presented as was just outlined. So if you're not in agreement with something in it, then you could vote no on the entire budget amendment.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, very good. Any other, one more round, any other round? Did you have
No, I think I'm
anything?
good.
Mr. Maslow, did you have any comment?
Well, I'll just ask the question to our city attorney, too. You could perhaps approve with conditions as well, just to clear that up, just to make sure that council has that option if it is an option.
Yeah, I think if you're going to do that, it's obviously she's going to need to detail what those are, and finance is going to have to come back with a proposed change. So rather than approving it with conditions, I would recommend tabling it and give clear direction for how you would like to see the budget amendment come back to you.
Okay, so now I guess we can, we're going to go ahead and make a motion to accept, and then we'll,
This is just a workshop.
Okay.
So you can give some direction.
some consensus?
Consensus.
Okay.
It is on your next agenda for consideration and a motion at that time.
All right, consensus to Ms. Vice Mayor?
To vote on the proposed mid-year budget? Okay, can we get a consensus on the proposed mid-year budget?
Yes.
Yeah, consent.
I'm not in favor of the mid-year budget, and I'll say because, again, we don't know what actuals are. I'm looking at theory against theory. I also would like to delve down a lot and would like to have a list of everything I just heard about projects that we didn't do this year that were budgeted, that we told the public we were going to do, and we didn't do them. I'd really like to understand what that is and how that works and why that happened and how that's going to impact next year.
I can actually, because most of that, as we stated before, is in Public Works, I can tell you there might be one or two projects that I might not remember off the top of my head. I should have printed that list for me and brought it with me. But I can tell you that one of those projects was the dark fiber project that is in IT. The other remaining projects that we talked about in discretionary were all under, see, Pam was so prepared, were under Public Works. And those things were the per-year facility improvements, the Lake David Center facility improvements. There is stormwater improvements for several areas here, so I'll just kind of give you a rundown here on those. Vernado Street, Garden Avenue. Those are the two that are stormwater. Then you also have the Main Avenue improvements, roads and sidewalk improvements for streets, vehicles, Monte Vista and North Max Hooks improvements, Orange and Broad conversion. And I actually have Mr. Fish here, and he and I talked about it, that he can kind of give you a little bit of information about those if y'all would like to hear that
Sure,
now.
love to hear why we didn't get them done. Yep.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. So before I get into why we didn't get them done, I really need to qualify what they are. Our budgeting process, I'm going back a year ago, We are using the budget in some cases when we want to put in projects that we intend to do as we are able to actually implement them. And I say it that way because what we also are in the midst of building is something that the city very much needs, which is at least a 5-year, if not longer, capital improvements program where you're looking out at project delivery. So we have multiple projects that were identified in budget that, well, we can't construct that yet because we have to plan for and design it first, and then we can build it. So I think that in that regard, there are a couple things, and I'll use this building. If we had the money, and I guess we could spend it, but we need to rip up every bit of the bathrooms and replace the plumbing all the way to the manhole in the street. And if you've been in an event where we've had an issue with the restrooms, you'll understand. It's an old building. We have some issues, both with the kitchen area and the restrooms. It's a substantial investment. So it got put in the budget, which was great, but we're constantly weighing the cost-benefit ratio of, are we really going to put 200,000 plus in this building, or are we planning for something different? And so before I'm going to pull that trigger, we're going to continue to evaluate, is it that urgent yet? And luckily this year, nothing transpired to where we said we don't have an option, we've got to go ahead and rip out these restrooms. Another one that's just under my department I'll mention is we've identified at the Lake David Center, it's time to do some window changeouts. Older building, the windows are not as efficient. So that project's in there. It just has not candidly moved forward because your staff has a limited amount of bandwidth, and there's plenty of other priorities that have hit. In addition to that, that started all the way back in October with budgets being expended on debris removal, affecting streets, sidewalks, and so forth. So when it comes to the building, any of our facilities, we have 2 staff members and then whatever contractors we can hire, and it is causing a little bit more of a lag in project delivery, such as a window change-out projects. And candidly, on that one, HVAC change-outs and some of the other more urgent repairs, those do take precedent. So not a perfect answer, Mayor, Council, but it's an honest one.
Yeah, but would you agree with me that by doing a budget that way, instead of we're going to start this project in March, this one in June, this one, and this is how much we're going to spend, then we're tying up capital that could be used in other places in the city, and maybe not borrow, maybe not create debt, because we have these placeholders that aren't going to be used, and then all of a sudden we've got this at the end. And that's where my concern is in the budgeting process, that I feel like we're throwing spaghetti against the wall, and what sticks does and what doesn't we carry over to next year, which is not an efficient use of our dollars. So that's where I'm coming from. TJ, I know you're limited and all that, but I also know that you probably know how much you can do. And maybe we should just budget there. Like, I think the Gaffney Park is 1.5 million. We've only done 750,000, if I remember reading. I don't know if it's on here or not, but you know, there's things like that I say, okay, you know, we look at our parks master plan and there's 70 parks, right? So if we can't spend it there, and somebody just wants a field in a place to go that's on our master plan, maybe we can do that. So it's just responsible use of the funds. That's where I'm coming from, and that's what I'd like to see this tightened up a little bit.
Agreed, and I think the important thing I want to emphasize tonight, it's kind of a preview, but we are, as a team, very excited, is we've been meeting for multiple months, regularly, multi-departments, fire, Parks and Recreation, my department, both Public Works and Utilities, Tim's department, both Community and Economic Development, the CRA, IT, identifying capital needs, and one of the points of why we need a true capital improvements program that's at least a 5-year document is exactly this point. That's the more appropriate tool to be using for this issue.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Consensus, we had 2-2.
To all the departments that are here and all of those that are not here, I've been on council 5 years, and I know what kind of job you do. But I cannot leave here tonight and give a consensus when there are things that I just believe could be enhanced in a better manner. So I am tonight on record a non-consensor, if there's such a word.
Okay, we have a 2-2. Are you the tiebreaker?
So this, again, is just a workshop. It'll come up on your agenda at the next meeting. And at that time, if you can't get approval or denial, then it just would need to be tabled and brought back.
So maybe we ought to circle back for another one of those meetings. And have some of
number
these
2
guys
on the agenda.
there to answer the questions. Okay, thank you. All right, well, that concludes the workshop. That concludes the workshop. We have 5 minutes to relax and take a break, and then we'll start the council meeting.
Look at us finishing. Look at us finishing on
Okay, good evening. The date is July 7th, 2025, and the time is 7:05. I hereby call to order the meeting of the City Council of Groveland, Florida. May we please stand for the pledge and remain standing for the invocation. Vice Mayor, will you lead us in the pledge? Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Patty Alperby, pastor from Edge United Methodist Church, is here to do the invocation for us tonight.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. And just wanted to let you know, we've got community resources coming into our neighborhood, and we have an invitation for an open house that's on the back table on August 10th that the community's invited to get to know these wonderful resources. But with that, if you'll join me. Holy God, we come before you with the hearts of those who love this beautiful community, for those that are seeking to bring all that you intend, that the hearts of this meeting be of peace, that your spirit flow ever so willingly and lovingly. But tonight, we are here to the beloved immense hope of what this community of Groveland can do. In your holy name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you very much. Jenny, could you please take the roll?
Yes. Mayor Keith Kehoe,
Here.
Vice Mayor Barbara Gaines,
Here.
Councilmember Amy Jo Carroll,
Here.
Councilmember Judith Fike,
Here.
Councilmember Mike Radzik,
Here.
Acting City Manager Tim Maslow, City Attorney Anita Gerasi Carver, Sergeant at Arms Chief Sean Ramsey, City Clerk Virginia Wright here.
Thank you. And we have a quorum. Guest speaker presentations and proclamations. Tonight we have the Groveland Fire Department. Please come forward.
Mayor, before, I have a statement I'd like to read.
Let's wait till we get past the proclamations. Oh, you
Okay.
want to do it during the proclamation?
No, I just want to do it now before we begin.
Okay.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, thank you so much. As you know, this is one of my favorite things to do, is not only promote some of our folks, which we're promoting one person this evening, but also to introduce you to our new firefighter. He is a replacement. We have 2 open positions. We've just managed to fill 1 over the last couple of months. And but without further ado, again, I thank you for this opportunity. And first and foremost, I'd like to tell you about a young man who we will be promoting tonight to driver engineer. This is a huge step in his career. I see great things coming from this young man moving forward. This is certainly not his last stop, but this is certainly a big stop for him for a little while. You know, when I got hired here, you all know, and you've heard me say this many times, probably, you know, more times than you like to hear me talk. But I didn't get to pick these men and women of this department, and they certainly didn't get to pick me either. But let me tell you, I don't know what they think, but I've inherited some wonderful men and women of this department. I cannot be prouder of all of them. They are definitely committed not only to this department, but ultimately to our entire community. That is, some of them are right behind us. This community, the city of Groveland, the city of Natural Charm, means something to these men and women. And the man I'm going to ask to come up here in a moment is no different. His name is Abner Hidalgo. And Abner has been on the promotional list for the better part of a year and a half now. And an opening, you never know when these are going to open. And this list would have expired in about 6 months or so. And he's getting a call to the bullpen, and we're very proud of him because everybody who tested 2 years ago did exceptionally well. But you know, even a point spread amongst 3 people is a point to actually make a list, and Abner is the next one up to par. So without further ado, Mr. Hidalgo, if you'd come up here, please. And I'd also like to ask his wife to come up here and pin him. Practice this ahead of time. All right. Good. Like to get some pictures? Come on up here. Anybody else from your family or Abner that's here? I'm going to ask your family to come up. Abner's family, come on up.
One more.
Come stand over here by Chief Smith for a minute. Okay, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, next up, we have a new firefighter. Again, he's finished his orientation, could not be more proud of him. There are thousands of firefighter openings across the state of Florida. If I showed you the list that comes out once or sometimes twice weekly, you have to get a hold of these people and you have to get a hold of them quick or they will be gone. We had an interview scheduled for this past Tuesday and he didn't even show up because he was given 6 job offers before he even made it to our interview. So that's the kind of pressures that we're all under throughout the state of Florida. We managed to come across somebody that I think is going to do great things throughout his career here, and I believe he's going to be a career employee. He's actually from Pennsylvania, and his family is actually here visiting. This is the Theroff family. This is his mom and dad, and we're grateful that they came down here for this and to visit him and see him. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Michael Theroff, our newest firefighter EMT. Again, he is a replacement position for an open full-time employee. This is not a new position. And I'd like to welcome him and have his girlfriend come up and pin him. Mr. Theroff.
It's true, but hopefully people aren't, he's only 36. Oh. My heart rate was.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, and I'm really excited to start a long career here. I've been really happy and well received so far, so thank you very much.
Take care.
Mayor, when a driver engineer gets promoted, there's a special shield that goes on his helmet, and we're going to hand this to Abner now. He can put it on.
Nice.
Okay, thank you, Chief. I've been asked to deviate from the agenda just a little bit, and Ms. Fike would like to make a statement. Is there any objections from the panel? Okay.
Thank you. So I would like to amend tonight's agenda to remove item 9. Florida statutes are very clear. Florida statute 104.31 states, an employee of the state or any political subdivision may not participate in any political campaign for an elective office while on duty. Anyone who breaks that law is guilty of a first-degree misdemeanor. In addition, the same statute says any governmental official cannot use his or her official authority or influence for the purpose of interfering with an election or a nomination of the office or coercing or influencing another person's vote or affecting the result thereof. A supporter of one of my opponents publicly stated he used the City Hall address to send this recent attack, to the newspaper and others. Additionally, this issue has no bearing on city business as it is several years old. This is a campaign issue, and we are prohibited by law from discussing this while we are on duty. I have released a statement that anyone can read online. It contains campaign statements, so I will not read it or distribute it while performing my duties as a councilwoman. I will not break Florida statutes, and I hope the rest of this council will similarly follow the rule of law too. Thank you.
Thank you, and we'll go through the consent agenda, and then this is on the agenda as number 9, and we'll take a reading on that right after we get through the consent agenda. Thank you. Moving on to the consent agenda, can we go ahead and read the titles?
Yes. Consideration of approval, June 2nd, 2025, City Council meeting minutes. June 9th, 2025, City Council workshop minutes. June 24th, 2025, City Council retreat minutes. Resolution 2025-38, approval of agreement excuse me, between the School Board of Lake County, Florida and the City of Groveland, Florida for School Resource Officer Program 2025-2026. Resolution 2025-39, approval of supplemental mutual aid agreement between the Claremont Police Department and the City of Groveland Police Department. Willadan Comprehensive Plan Evaluation and Appraisal Report Contract Service Agreement. Duke Energy Lighting Estimates. Ordinance 2025-2, 133 Phelps Street, ROW vacation, first reading. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Groveland, Florida, vacating a portion of Lake Avenue shown on plat of Taylorville as recorded in Plat Book 2, page 7 of Public Records of Lake County, Florida, located between Lot 2, Block 42, and Lot 7, Block 41 of Plat of Taylorville. Vesting of title, providing for severability, providing for conflicts and scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you so much. We have the consent agenda read. Is there any comment from the council? We'll start with you, Amy Jo.
I would like to remove G and H from the consent agenda.
G and H will remove from the consent agenda. And we'll put those under new business. Having G and H out, is there any further input? Seeing none, do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda as modified?
I motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Public comment on the consent agenda? Seeing none, let's move forward.
Councilmember Carroll, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gaines?
Aye.
Councilmember Fike?
Aye.
Councilmember Radzik?
Aye.
Mayor Kehoe?
Aye. So seeing no old business, I'd like to get a consent to move number 9 up to the beginning of tonight's new business, since it's already been addressed. And could I have consent on that? Ms. Fike?
No.
Okay, seeing we have consent, we have 3 to 1. I'd go ahead, and what I was going to do here is ask for any explanation of what was happening in this article. But since you've invoked that right, I do want to explain that from my standpoint, it has nothing to do with the article. It has to do with the non-truthful nature of your response to it online, and then getting some of our staff involved, IT, saying it was a phishing thing. And that's where I would come from. I think everybody's had a chance to hear or see, and I think that trust is something that this city has been working on very, very hard for a lot of years, and the trust has been betrayed. There is a process to go through, and I would ask for the other comments if you would like to make comment, but I would ask for us to move forward with a special meeting to then discuss this totally in that special meeting and go through the different points of what has been said or hasn't been said, who was involved, who wasn't, and what the reaction was and how it has affected this city. I would ask for that to be done as soon as possible. I would ask for our clerk to look at the calendar The earliest we could do it is it right, 2 weeks I'll have to take, or can we do it before 2 weeks?
We need to
Anita?
give at least 7 days public notice.
Okay. So within that time, I would like to get a date from everybody that we could do it, preferably on a Monday, even if we have to move something in order to get this off the books. But now I'll open it up to comment. Vice Mayor?
Okay. On June 30th, I received a package in the mail that contained some of the most vile and disgusting social media comments. So I feel that I have to let you all know first what I'm getting ready to say and why I'm getting ready to say it. Councilwoman Fike has admitted to making racial and LGBTQ comments. And so I want to address those tonight. And I am going to ask whether you're on the phone or whether you're up here on the dais. We all deserve respect. So I want to share my thoughts with you, and I ask for, without any interruptions, I was an active listener when Councilwoman Fikes gave her comments. And I will also be respectful to anybody else that shares their thoughts. So I ask for that same respect because you see, no one up here can help me out or clarify what I think she's saying. Because guess what? You ain't walked in my shoes. Okay? So I say, no, not tonight, please. Words have an impact. As elected officials, we are committed. We are committed to respecting all people in our community by being accountable and inclusive. The operative word there is inclusive leaders. You see, when you make hateful and racist remarks, it only hurts people and fails to align with that commitment. In fact, I have to tell you, I feel personally hurt by the comments that were made and the disgrace coming from my fellow council member. I want to tell you all tonight, racism is not an opinion. It's a problem. It breeds intense and persistent feelings of hate that consist of fear, dislike, hostility towards people and groups. And you know, it is often accompanied by a desire to avoid, exclude, or even harm those that have been attacked. Hurtful words, they don't. Did somebody say something? Because I thought I asked for respect. Hurtful words don't make you a leader. They don't make you bold. What it makes you is loud and wrong. Impact matters more than intent. You see, hateful words, hurtful actions cause emotional, physical pain, distress, and harm, again, to those that are affected. The way that I see it, Councilwoman Fike's attempt to justify her hateful rhetoric by citing she was in a dark place is tissue paper thin and a pathetic excuse. Hurt caused by her undeniable words and her unmitigated gall in refusing to step down clearly indicates it's not about serving everyone in the community, but in fact, it appears to be all about her. The hate history of her speech goes back, and I'm going to show you in a minute, goes back at least as far as 2015, and the fact that she committed to radiate hate as recent as last year is sordid and disgraceful. From using the N-word to bashing the LGBTQ plus community and trivializing tragedies like Pulse. It sends the perception to other people that some elected officials in Groveland still hold beliefs that led to the Groveland Four. And you all know the history of the Groveland Four. Some constituents, I've had some constituents call me and wonder, what can our community expect from her? Others are questioning what was the event after November 2024 that led Councilwoman Fike to change her beliefs, her moral compass, so drastically and so rapidly. Lastly, I must ask, if you find your prior post so willfully hurtful, why did you see a need to identify yourself, and I'm going to show you in a minute, as on some of the postings, Groveland District 4 Councilwoman on some of these posts? My question is, what is going to prevent you from going back to the dark place? I bet you everybody in here has been in a dark place. Or let me just stand in my truth and say, I've been in dark places before. But dark does not become dark. So what prevents you from going once again into a dark place after the election? Groveland, let me say to you all, you deserve fairness, accountability, and empathy. You also deserve commitment and inclusiveness. Councilwoman Fike refuses to step down, and let's keep it moving attitude attempts to downplay the actions and make it clear that she's not committed to serving this diverse city. To the Groveland community, I say to you, be of good courage. Know that hate has no place in our community, and we will not tolerate leaders who promote hate, division, and tolerance. I'm sure there's not a person in the room that doesn't know this saying, say it and forget it, write it and regret it. It appears from some of the comments that were made that this is a political fight. Let me just say, as Barbara Gaines standing in my truth, I ain't got a dog in the fight. Not one dog in this fight. But I got fight for the community. You can look at me, you can see that I'm an African American. There are others that you can look at and you can see, or through their confessions, that they've been or are a part of the LBGT community. I told you guys that I wanted to show you a few things. For those that think, oh, well, Barbara is making something big out of this. Well, until the day you walk in my shoes or any other minority shoes, you ain't got no conversation going. Here is one of the posts that was posted, and I have to get closer so you all can see. This is a picture of Ronald Reagan allegedly babysitting Barack Obama, except it is an ape, a baboon, a monkey, or whatever you want to call it. Their statement, and I'm paraphrasing this, that it would have been easier to take the people, take the people from the Pulse nightclub, it would have been easier to push them off the roof. Who does that? Who does that? Again, you talk about race and you talk about a political contest. I want to say to you all, again, I don't have a dog in this fight, but what I do have are the constituents of Groveland, Florida, in my fight. I'm going to read you a couple more, and then I'm going to be done. But I want everyone to know, as Barbara Gaines stands here in her truth tonight, it is not political. It's about those that I have been elected to serve. You see, some of these posts, the title still has Groveland Councilwoman District 4 on them. Broke back Obama. What black woman is running? She ain't black. Just a couple more, please. He was black, and the Dems knew idiots would vote for the first black and worst president ever. A dozen times, F. Obama. I say to you, the same creator that created you created me. We are all part of the same creation. And I'm going to read one more and I'm done. I'm offended by the NAACP, hashtag NAACP, the United Black Caucus, hashtag Black Lives Matter. I want counterparts. I lost many nights, Judy, of sleep because it hurt me so bad. And if you want to talk about this being a racial issue and how it's turned into a political peeing contest, you see, none of this would happen. You say that it resurfaced, but none of this would have happened if you hadn't written it. I'm done. I thank you for your time. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
No, let's take it.
All right.
Mayor, you were discussing picking a date and having a meeting about just this, because I appreciate everything Barbara said. I would like to, have we evaluated the legalities of discussing this?
Yes, so you put it on the item on the agenda. You can give further direction by a motion. No action can be taken tonight, but you can move it forward to another meeting.
Okay. Yes, I would like to move forward with a special meeting to discuss this further.
Ms. Fike?
Anita, when I met you in your office and you handed me those, I explained to you how they had been copied and pasted and had had words inserted. And so now that Barbara has shown them, those are indeed manipulated. And so I will just let that rest. They're not my words. There are some copies, but what Barbara just showed were absolutely not products of mine. Thank you.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
I thought that I read, you tell me if this is true or not, that you took full responsibility for the wording. Is that right or not right? So are you saying you weren't the author of these comments or which is it? You weren't the author and that your social media was hacked?
Not of the comments that you just showed.
Pardon me?
Not of the comments that you just displayed.
Did you do the one about the Pulse nightclub?
At this point, I think we'll move to the special meeting, and then I'll explain that.
I ask a question, you can just say, I'm not going to answer now, or yes, I did, or no, I didn't. I'm just asking that everyone stand in their truth.
One at a time.
Barbara, I don't have the language right in front of me. I can explain it. I explained it as I did to Sharon Keeble. It was written at the time Pulse happened. It was also written at the time that we had a presidential candidate aligning with a community in the Middle East who were currently pushing gay individuals off of buildings. And my comment was, of course this gentleman did what he did. It was easier than having to march them up steps. And it was meant as a support of the community, not against the community. Might have been written in poor taste, but I want to clarify that for you, because that was going on at the time.
Okay, I think that we'll close the discussion with some things I'd like to read from our policy, ethics policy.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Radzik.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Radzik. I'm sorry. I thought I was getting divine intervention there. Okay. Okay, Mr. Radzik.
Yeah, first off, I'd like to apologize for any background noise. I'm having a hard time manipulating the Zoom microphone on and off, so I apologize for the interference. So when you asked at the last meeting for an item to put on the agenda about the Claremont Sun article, I was pretty much dumbfounded. And I
Talking to the mic, Mike, you're fading out.
because I've received nothing. Okay, is that any better?
There you go.
Okay, I was saying that I'm a little bit dumbfounded and really at a loss for what anyone is talking about because I haven't seen anything that Barbara is referencing. I didn't get any package, so I just want to go on the record as saying I am completely like way out in left field with no knowledge of anything that's being discussed. You all got packages, and I would like some people got packages that didn't see all or otherwise, and it was distributed to everyone.
Mike, you're cutting in and out again. Hello? Are you done? Here. Sorry, Mike, you're cutting out. We can't hear you. Okay. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate your comments. I'm going to go on. We have a code of conduct and ethics policy that each one of us sign when we take office. I'm going to refer to several areas and then talk about them in just a little bit more in just a second. Under Ethics A, item number 1, recognizing that stewardship of the public interest must be their primary concern, members will work for common good of the people of Groveland. Fair and equitable treatment of all persons, claims, and transactions coming before them. Item 3, the professional and personal conduct of members while exercising their office must be above reproach and avoid even the appearance of impropriety. Item number 12, when presenting their individual opinions and positions, members shall explicitly state they're not a representative of their body or the city of Groveland, nor will they allow the inference that they do. That's very important that, that you separate yourself from the city when you're offering your own personal opinions, especially if you have your title as council person on there. Positive workplace. This is number 15. Members shall support the maintenance of a positive, constructive workplace environment for the city employees and for the citizens and businesses dealing in the city. Behavior, this is item number C under sanctions. Behavior and conduct. The Groveland Code of Ethics and Conduct expresses standards of ethical conduct expected for members of the City Council, boards, committees, and commissions members. And the commission members themselves have the primary responsibility to ensure that ethical standards are understood and met, and that the public can continue to have full confidence in the integrity of the government. The chairs of boards, committees, and commissions, and the mayor and council have the additional responsibility to report to the city manager when actions of members that appear to be in violation of the Code of Ethics and Conduct are brought to their attention. It is the responsibility of the mayor or vice mayor to initiate action if a council member's behavior may warrant sanction. The city council may impose sanctions on board, committee, or commission members whose conduct does not comply with the city's policies up to and including removal from office. Any form of discipline imposed by the council shall be determined by a majority vote. At least a quorum in the city council at a noticed public meeting, and such action shall be preceded by a report to the council with supporting documentation. When deemed warranted, the majority of the council may call for an investigation of board, committee, and commission members' conduct. Also, should the city manager and city attorney believe that an investigation is warranted, they shall confer with the council. The council shall ask the city manager and the city attorney to investigate the allegation of the report findings. This has nothing to do with an election. This has to do with a person sitting on the council. Those policies were to the letter taken to the city attorney and our, as you know, and our city manager, who both discussed the issue with yourself. I'm asking for a legal opinion. I'd like to move now for a consensus to suspend the Councilwoman Fike until such time as we get through the issue. I would not feel comfortable with all this out there and public appearances on behalf of the city until we have this, this meeting where we can determine what the final action is. Is that appropriate, Madam Attorney?
Under your code of ethics, you can take certain actions pending a due process hearing that you would be setting in the future. So it's up to the council.
Okay, thank you. I would ask for a motion.
With that, can we ask for an investigation?
Sure.
Like if Judy says some of these are not real, that's part of due process, just give everybody their chance to prove either way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Is that?
You can, I would just comment the section that talks about the city manager and city attorney investigating really is meant more for your boards and committees and not for the council. So if the council wants to do that, we would have to hire an independent investigator to do that.
So first we'll say that if we're going to have the meeting, and if we do, then we'll have to take a vote on, is that Mike back?
Mike?
Mike? No, guess. Then we'll go ahead and take a vote for the investigator, because we'll have to authorize
Okay,
that.
so step by step. All right.
Yeah.
Then I make a motion that we set a special meeting to address this concern.
We're voting, I mean, is that what we're talking about, or are we talking about suspension until a further time?
I think we're doing step by
We're
step.
doing separate, so we don't get them all.
My bad.
They all gonna be separate,
Oh, okay,
baby steps.
okay.
If we don't
Consent?
have the meeting set, there's no reason for the
Okay.
suspension until.
I knew that. Okay, I consent.
I think I need a second for my motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion from the council? Any discussion from the public?
Yes, Pastor Nelson Bloom.
Sir, fill out your little paper back there, and we got this gentleman up before you.
Oh, okay. I thought I did. I'll go fill it out real quick.
Hello, everyone from the council. My name is Pastor Nelson Bloom. I reside at 9378 West Morley Street here in Groveland, Florida. I'm sitting down there listening to everything that's said, and I was typing away on my, what do you call this, an iPad? I'm not sure what that's even called. As a resident of Groveland and a citizen of our great country, with family members who have served in the military since World War II, My loyalty is to God and country. I have no agenda other than to promote God's peace and his love, which requires forgiveness for all. I have no agenda as it pertains to political parties. I am a representative of the Christian faith here on earth, and I will strive for the unity of all people, even if on some issues we disagree. Let's say we can agree to disagree all the while being kind to one another. Now, that being said, there have been verifiable reports of past remarks that were made out of character about a city council member, Judy Fike. After research online in posts about our city, it's important to acknowledge that Councilwoman Judy Fike has made a statement about being in a dark place. However, since appointed, she has seemingly consistently demonstrated a dedication and a strong commitment of coming out to a brighter place as she has served the community in her role as a city council member. We should always look at a person's ongoing actions and their potential to contribute positively as a way of measuring them. The Bible, which I believe in, calls it fruit. As a believer, I believe in change for all. Regardless of past mistakes, which Judy Fike may have made in conversation or in written word, she seemingly has shown a good work ethic in the public's eye as far as a genuine desire to improve our city. I see the city post and see the involvement of most city officials, either in a professional setting when they post or privately. Her actions, seemingly as a city official, have often reflected a dedication championing the city of charm, working tirelessly for residents since her appointment, whether at city meetings or elsewhere. It's a core tenet of faith as taught by the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, that forgiveness and the opportunity for redemption are always possible. We are all fallible, and our focus should be on how individuals, including Judy Fike, strive to learn, grow, serve with integrity moving forward. As city official, Councilwoman Fike's character has shown and demonstrated her commitment to her duties. While we may hear about past words, it is essential to recognize the ongoing work which she does to benefit all in the city of Groveland and the positive impact she can continue to have in her capacity. I am a Jewish, Dutch, West Indian, Puerto Rican American. I've been living in this country my whole life, and I could care less what the color of the skin of a person is. I believe in the words of Martin Luther King, don't judge a person by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And I'm sure at one time or another, some of us have said something about somebody of another race or another color that was disparaging. That was not right. I pray we can all be forgiven. Listen, we all make mistakes, commit sins, and sometimes our words don't reflect our true intentions or character. Is anyone amongst us so righteous that you've never said or text anything out of the norm? What truly matters is our capacity for growth, our willingness to learn from our errors, and our ongoing commitment to doing good. Hopefully, this will help all of us to realize that we need to not allow our personal emotions rule over the right thing to do. This is a learning curve for all. No one is exempt from this learning curve. And while I'm not endorsing anyone but standing for righteousness, while I can't speak for all, I have observed Councilwoman Fike's current role as well as other council people. We've seen evidence of the dedication to promote the city of charm. I've seen her dealing with blacks, with whites, and Hispanics. And let me tell you, I have never felt anything negative as a Jewish, Dutch, West Indian, Puerto Rican American. While I don't know each of you privately, I would urge you all to consider the words of our Lord Jesus Christ. And I'm not here to preach, even though I sound like a preacher, because I am. Forgive and you will be forgiven. For if you forgive others, people, when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive others their sins, your Father will not forgive your sins. This verse highlights a reciprocal relationship between forgiving others and receiving forgiveness from God. As counsel, you choose this day or whatever day you decide what position of your heart or what position your heart dictates. I, for one, as a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ and a resident of the city of Groveland, am for unity and harmony with all those in the city leadership, each and every one of you, to promote that which we all share in common, to promote a city with natural charm, even with members, all who are not infallible. Thank you for your time, and God bless you.
Great timing. Perfect. Thank you. Next.
Tim Laux.
Mayor Council, Tim Laux, 623 Neptune Drive, Groveland, Florida. Ms. Gaines, I want to thank you. Your comments on this particular matter said a lot of what I had to say. I stood right in this chamber in 2016 We issued a proclamation that had lingered for 69 years in the city of Groveland for the Groveland 4, an apology proclamation. We followed that with a resolution. I went to Lake County. I had Lake County do the same thing. Tempted to go to Governor Scott to have the full pardon done. Governor Scott refused to hear me. Maybe he was like-minded as Councilmember Fike, I'm not sure. But went to Governor Ron DeSantis. The year that he was elected, the day after he was elected, he issued a full pardon for the Groveland 4. I did that to show unity in the city of Groveland. Those that don't know the story, there were 4 black men accused of a crime in the city of Groveland in 1949 that they were not involved in. The confessions were beaten out of them. Racial tensions in this city were extremely high when I moved here in 2008. By 2012, I started working on this. Gilbert King wrote a book on it. For anyone who wants to read it, it's called Devil in the Grove. Every word in that book is absolutely true. We verified and checked every single fact. Here we are in 2025, and we still got racial issues, and they're coming from a council member in this city. Ms. White, just so you know, I had 2 of my coworkers killed at Pulse. I don't know if you know that or not, but you do now, and so does everybody else in this room. Ma'am, what you did is unforgivable. Yes, God does say we should forgive people, but God also says they need to pay for their sins. At this point, if I were you, I'd write resignation on a piece of paper, and I'd get up and walk out of this meeting and go home and hope these people forgive you. Mayor and council, thank you.
That's all. That is the end of the public comment. With that said, can we go ahead and take the roll call vote, please?
Yes. Councilmember Carroll, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gaines?
Aye.
Councilmember Radzik?
Yes.
Councilmember Fike?
Yes, because I'd like to clear my name.
Mayor Kehoe?
Yes. So moved. Next, we need to take care of the suspension issue until such time as this can be scheduled. And I have a motion for a suspension of public duties until this hearing takes place.
I make a motion, Mayor, that Councilwoman Fike be suspended of her public duties until the due process meeting has taken place, she's been heard, and a decision's been made.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Comment? Seeing none, public comment? Seeing none, let's go ahead and take the vote.
Vice Mayor Gaines, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll?
Aye.
Councilmember Fike?
Hey,
Councilmember Radzik? Nothing. Mayor Kehoe?
Aye. So carried. Next motion would be for an investigator to, a third-party investigator to take the information we have and investigate it for the due process meeting.
I motion that we hire a private investigator to fully investigate this entire situation.
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further comment? Any public comment? Seeing none?
Councilmember Carroll, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gaines?
Aye.
Councilmember Radzik? Councilmember Fike?
thank you. Yes, I welcome an investigation.
Mayor Kehoe?
Aye. So carried. So that takes care of section 9 on our new business, and we'll move on back to bringing the 2 items that were taken off the consent agenda to under new business. We'll handle those first. And could you just read those? Those 2, the first item that we moved.
You want me
Item
to
G and
read
H.
both, Mayor?
G and H.
Okay, the first one, G, is Duke Energy lighting estimates.
Okay, we have a item, and you asked for it to be taken off. Amy Jo, would you like to comment?
Yes, mostly I just wanted to have us have a discussion about that. It's a huge, looks like a huge cost savings to the city, and we kind of highlight a lot of negative things, and I wanted to highlight a positive. So TJ, is that your thing? Or Tim?
I could help with that.
Hey, go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, any time that you could achieve something from our strategic plan in swift fashion and save money, to me and to my department, we think that's a good thing. Usually when we talk about strategic infrastructure, usually has a lot of zeros at the end. After close to a year with working with Duke Energy, we have a proposal to replace 783 lights throughout the city. They're all with Duke Energy to no initial cost to the city with an actual savings on a monthly basis that will equate over, we have this listed down.
$95,000.
Over $90,000 annually. So again, that's a savings. That is a 10-year contract with Duke Energy. It's to retrofit the existing lighting fixtures. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Would those light fixtures be dark sky compliant?
It will be dark sky compliant at 2,700 Kelvin per light fixture. 3,000 was really the industry standard about 5 years ago. When we initially had these conversations with Duke Energy, they told us that would be difficult to achieve, but that was the grassroots feedback we received from the city. We told them that was our commitment. I stand before you today, almost 5 years after those conversations. Not only are they able to deliver 3,000 Kelvin, it's down to 2,700 Kelvin. I relate this issue very similarly to LED lights, close to 15 years. If you go to the store today, it's almost impossible to get a lighting fixture that's not an LED. Close to 15 years ago, when we talked about this as a way to cut costs and still provide safe lighting, a lot of folks weren't used to it. It wasn't the industry standard. Lo and behold, again, it's difficult to deviate from that at this point. My expectation is that, again, Groveland is a pioneer in this in terms of doing what's right for the environment, also what's right for our citizens, looking out for safety, and then also looking for cost savings. I expect others to follow suit, and I expect Duke Energy to roll out a case study for this project that we're doing. We're also having conversations with SECO, and I believe we have some representatives in the audience who have been able to help out in this regard. We don't have an agreement with SECO to replace or retrofit yet, but we're still committed to working with them for also achieving similar outcomes that we've been able to achieve with Duke. So I would like to commend the City's Strategic Planning Council, staff who's diligently been working on this, and all those stakeholders who have been a part of this commitment for the city with Natural Time.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comment? Just one for me, that 10-year agreement is solid. We don't have any, that price is good for the whole 10 years, right?
Correct.
There's no escalators in it or anything.
It's fixed.
Okay, and the last thing I would just ask is a favor, or you can tell me if we need to have a consensus on it. Last meeting, I asked instead of having staff recommended, to have the person that's the champion of it listed, instead of staff recommend, have the person there, so we know who to contact and everything, and I'd appreciate it if we could do that as we move forward.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'd like to make a motion to accept our Duke Energy lighting estimates.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Any comment? Any public comment?
Yes, Marty Proctor.
Good evening. Marty Proctor, 18225 Rose Street, Groveland, Florida. To be perfectly clear, I'm here as a private citizen. I want to thank the city for their ongoing efforts, the work that went into this. Andrew and Gabby, Tim, everybody that's been involved in this process for the last 8 years to get this started. more importantly, to get it finished and to accomplish something that's only been done in a handful of places, especially when they did it in the southeastern, in fact, the entire eastern United States, becoming a dark sky compliant community. This is a big step toward finishing that. More importantly, this is a step in keeping you legal with your own ordinances, which is something I totally support always, that you maintain truth to your ordinances. Otherwise, if they're not legal and enforceable, I use these comments frequently. You must have legal and enforceable ordinances. And that's what you've accomplished here. This is an outstanding job. You guys happen to be able to sit on the board at this time when this is done. But there were a lot of different people over a lot of years that did a lot of work. And I'm very pleased that you're maintaining this as a focus, because it is very important. If you don't believe it, come to my house, go to Chef's, and we can show you the difference from one direction and the difference to the other direction. So again, thank you very much for the work that you've done. Please remember that you get a tremendous, as a city, and as 24,000 residents in the city, a tremendous amount of positive news, positive press, positive mentions. It was done throughout the state, throughout a variety of different industries when this was done, when the ordinance was passed, and this continues today, years later. So this is you can't buy this. This is, as was stated earlier, this is the gaining of trust. This is the gaining of credibility as a city. So it's outstanding work. Thank you very much, and I support this activity very much. Well done, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Councilmember Carroll, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gaines?
Aye.
Councilmember Fike?
I'm not sure when I was suspended.
No, you're suspended. No,
Pardon?
suspended from public.
The council took action to suspend. So therefore, only the three of you and Mr. Radzik, if he's still online, can vote.
Correct.
Councilmember Radzik?
Aye.
Mayor Kehoe?
Aye. So moved. Next, ordinance 2025-2, 133 Phelps Street, right-of-way vacation, first reading.
All right, so I received an email about this one.
Councilman,
Oh, go
I
ahead.
have to read it into the
Oh,
record.
go ahead. Sorry.
Again, sorry. Ordinance 2025-2, 133 Phelps Street Road vacation, first reading. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Groveland, Florida, vacating a portion of Lake Avenue shown on the plat of Taylorville as recorded in Plat Book 2, page 7 of Public Records of Lake County, Florida, located between Lot 2, Block 42, and Lot 7, Block 41 of the plat of Taylorsville, vesting of title, providing for severability, providing for conflicts and scrivener's errors, providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Ms. Carroll?
All right. So first, I'm going to read an email that I received from a resident. So the proposed vacation is for a portion of Lake Avenue located on 133 Phelps Avenue. In review of public records, the vesting legal description for the subject property appears to already contain the right-of-way that this ordinance is requesting to vacate. This raises question as to why we are repeating a process that the county already acknowledges has been done. Searching the property's back chain and surrounding properties located on the platted Lake Avenue all show and hint that Lake was vacated some 60-plus years ago. Additional in my review, a 1962 deed recorded at OR Book 186, page 306 was found that shows Lake was previously vacated by a City of Groveland ordinance and a 10-foot easement for public utilities was reserved. And that she's requesting this item be pulled and the city's historical documents be reviewed to locate the 1960s ordinance. That is from Jen Eastridge. Her address is protected.
Interesting.
So it does appear from the Lake County Appraiser's Office that has already been vacated. So are we duplicating, do you know, like?
Councilmember Carroll, I appreciate the question. And in all honesty, when looking at the county property appraiser map, I did also notice that the right-of-way, the history of that as part of the Taylorville plat wasn't shown on the map, and usually rights-of-way are shown on the map. I went over with staff. I understood that it went through the legal and also surveying process. They indicated that the right-of-way was still there. We looked at it as a formality to check the box, although you're probably aware of that historic house that used to be there on site before it was demolished. They plan to rebuild. Whether or not the right-of-way vacate did happen before, or if we need to have it in the public record, staff thought it was important to go through the process to make sure that it was official.
Okay, I have one other question. If we go through with this now, could that create a legal, if they've been paying taxes on that as if it's there, does that create any legal issues going back?
I would have to research it. I would think there's some sort of statute of limitations as to how far back, but honestly, I would have to look into that.
Can I propose that we table this until we can look into all of these things, just so? I would like to make a motion that we table ordinance 2025-2 until we can research it.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any public discussion?
Yes.
No, seeing none.
Nancy Campy Leah.
Good evening, Nancy Campelia, your town law, on behalf of the applicant. We appreciate you bringing this up today. It's unfortunate that our research, or the title company that did the research, and indeed the surveyors did not discover this. I fully understand now that it's being brought to my attention. I just wish I had known that this had happened, because we have paid for advertising, my client has, now for the 4th time. I just hope that you'll take into consideration the fact that this is a formality that is clearly necessary because it's not of record. It's owned by the county. I didn't quite hear your question regarding taxes. So would you be kind enough to clarify that?
It was if the owner's been paying taxes on it, because it does appear on the property appraiser's website, and if there is a 1960s ordinance, like, I just didn't want us to get into legal trouble for passing an ordinance now to give them a right-of-way that they already own, if that makes sense.
Understood, and that's what I hope that's what we're seeking. Thank you very much, and I guess we advertise again.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
Councilmember Carroll, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gaines?
Aye.
Councilmember Radzik?
Aye.
Mayor Kehoe?
Aye. Tabled. Okay, on to new business. Consideration for approval, Resolution 2025-35, approving construction services contract for South Lake Regional Park Phase 1B, bid number 2025-005. Would you like to read it? No, don't have to? Okay. Mr. Walker.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council Member, members, Mr. Radzik on speaker, yes. This item pertains to the construction services contract, as mentioned, for South Lake Regional Park. We are continuing with the project to Phase 1B. In December of 2024, Council, we had pause. City Council approved an amendment to the Lake County existing contract for additional funding for this project. The funding is coming from Lake County. That agreement totaled to $20,505,000. In April of 2025, a couple months ago, the city went out for an RFP. After a 30-day advertisement period, we received 4 qualified bids. On June 12th, the evaluation committee, a committee of 7 members, evaluated the proposals, and I believe that evaluation packet is in your packet. So we are asking for Resolution 2025-35 to be approved in the amount of $13,242,601 to South Lake Electric and Construction Company. You do have members from South Lake Construction and the team here. And I will note, since you got some advisory board members from your Record Advisory Committee also taking time out of their volunteer responsibilities to attend as well. Mr. Badillo is here, and Mr. Bergstein. There's been, some buzz in the community. This originally was designed as a regional park. We are completing Phase 1A. This project will serve the children of Groveland. I don't want to say solely the children of Groveland, because in your agreement with Lake County, the county does have the ability to utilize a facility for 4 events throughout the year. But I just wanted to assure everyone here that the city of Groveland, how important this project is to finish, to make the city of Groveland Parks and Recreation Department very excited. And I would also say for your residents to now provide youth baseball at a true baseball facility, youth girls softball, because we don't manage one at this time, co-ed youth soccer programs, and a cricket facility. So it's very exciting what we hope gets approved this evening, and for South Lake Electric and Construction Company to go to work and meet a tentative deadline of March of 2026, so it's not that far out. That's when opening day is, so hopefully we're throwing baseballs and softballs around at that time. I would also like to note in this contract, it does not include some items that are owner direct purchase. What does that mean? Is there are items such as the athletic field lighting that we will buy direct. That'll give us a tax savings benefit of close to $100,000. So there are some items in this project that will not go through this contract that we will owner direct purchase to save some money. So I'm here to answer any questions. Your contractor to be hopefully is here to answer any questions that you may have.
Questions? Ms. Carroll?
I'm good.
Mr. Radzik?
No questions.
Vice
Did you hear that, Jeff?
Got it, thanks, Vice Mayor.
No questions?
I have no questions, but thank you for picking a local supplier. I mean, somebody that lives here, somebody that works here is going to make sure this thing is right. And I think that was excellent that you guys found somebody local to do this.
It was a great, the process worked, the procurement process worked. So, they were the lowest bid, and all the other criterias lined up. So we're excited as well that the dollars will stay local.
Thank you. Have a motion to accept?
I would like to make a motion to accept Resolution 2025-35.
A second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Any public comment? Nope. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, no, we don't. Marty has 4 on the book, so. Councilmember Carroll, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gaines?
Aye.
Councilmember Radzik? Mayor Kehoe?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, there we go.
Thank you, Mike.
I got my eye.
Yep, got it.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Second, next, consideration for approval ordinance 2025-8, fiscal year 2024 through 25 amendment, first reading.
Ordinance 2025-8, FY 2024-2025, mid-year budget amendment, first reading, and ordinance of the City Council of the City of Groveland, Florida, pursuant to Section 5.03C of the City of Groveland Charter, amending the budget for the 2024-2025 fiscal year by increasing and/or decreasing various line items received and incurred after the original budget was approved, providing for Scrivener's errors, conflict, severability, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, discussion.
I was just going to make a motion, but okay.
Okay, make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to table that until you guys get the information that you would like.
Thank you. We have a motion to table.
Second that motion.
We have a second. Any further discussion? Mr. Radzik?
I don't know what information it is that you were looking for, so I'll go ahead and
Okay, thank you.
vote to table it.
Okay, let's take the vote.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gaines.
Aye.
Councilmember Radzik. And Mayor Kehoe.
Aye. Consideration for approval, referendum ordinance 2025-13, mayor and council member term limits and 4-year terms of office, first reading.
Referendum ordinance 2025-13, mayor and council member term limits and 4-year terms of office, first reading. An ordinance of the City of Groveland, County of Lake, State of Florida, providing for amendment of the City of Groveland Charter by amending sections 3.03 and section 3.06E in Article 3 to provide for 4-year terms of office for council rather than 2-year terms of office, while also imposing term limits and defining the word term for the purpose of determining term limits, providing specifying requisite ballot language for submission to electors, requesting the supervisor of elections to place the ballot language on the ballot for the November 4th, 2025 general election, providing for severability and conflicts, providing for inclusion in the charter, and providing for an effective date.
Any discussion?
I don't have anything for discussion. Good. I'll just
Nor
make a
do I.
motion.
Okay, can I get a motion to accept?
I motion to accept, where's the numbers? Ordinance 2025-13.
I second.
A motion and a second. Do we have any public comment? No public comment. Let's go ahead. Oh, does he have a?
No.
4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Two.
If you'll allow me, sir, it's very straightforward.
Sure.
Good luck. Third time's a charm.
Maybe he does.
To support this, having an election every year is very costly to the city, does not necessarily benefit the city. It prevents business being done and continuity and efforts. Good luck. Third time's a charm.
Thank you. No further public comment? Seeing none. Jenny, want to call the roll?
Yes. Councilmember Carroll, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gaines.
Aye.
Councilmember Radzik. Mayor Kehoe.
Aye. So carried. Item 4, consideration of approval, referendum ordinance 2025-14, citizen authority to require reconsideration of certain ordinances and resolutions, first reading.
Referendum ordinance 2025-14, citizen authority to require reconsideration of certain ordinances and resolutions, first reading. An ordinance of the City of Groveland, County of Lake, State of Florida, providing for the amendment of the City of Groveland Charter to add a new subsection in Article 3, Section 3.07, entitled Procedure, that grants the registered voters of the city the power to require City Council to reconsider an adopted ordinance or resolution, provided the request for reconsider occurs within 90 days of its adoption, and if council does not repeal the ordinance or resolution so reconsidered, then the ordinance or resolution be approved or rejected by the voters at a city election, providing exceptions relating to ordinances and resolutions, approving the budget, levy of taxes, comprehensive planning and zoning, providing specifying requisite ballot language for submission to electors, requesting the supervisor of elections to place the ballot language on the ballot for the November 4th, 2025 general election, providing for severability and conflicts, providing for inclusion in the charter, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to accept item 4?
A motion to accept item 4.
A second.
And we have a second. We have discussion. Do we have public comment?
Marty Proctor.
Marty Proctor, 18225 Rose Street, Groveland, private citizen. There's a lot of variables here, a lot of very costly variables in this process that you're suggesting be put on the ballot. How are registered voters and the process assuring the validity of the request going to be considered? Is it what's going to require? They have to physically come here, physically come during a meeting, physically just send an email, post something on social media. There's questions about the validity of that. And how many, oh, sorry, Mike. And how many is one obstacle enough to result in this costly vote? Is it one single constituent, a group, a contingency, an HOA, a majority, a compendium? It's a very costly process to go through the Lake County Votes Office and run 10, 5, 20, 1 or 2. And the real question I have here is, are we being you, we are all part of we, representing the 24,000 residents of the city of Groveland effectively by allowing this to go forward and to have the opportunity for one person, one group, one constituency, one contingent to be able to essentially grind the office of council and the authority of council to a halt by objecting to simply every single thing that you do, every resolution, every ordinance that you pass. It concerns me greatly that a small misrepresentative of the 24,000 members of Groveland can cost all the city all this money and grind progress to a halt.
Okay, let me just try to address that, but this is a subsection of Article 3, Section 3.07. I think if we go to that, you'll see that it's under the petition side that says that you have to have, is it 10% of the registered voters have to sign a petition for this to move forward? So it wouldn't be just one. And then I don't think there was ever asked to have a special election, but it would be carried on at the next general election, which we have from now on. So I think we need to take that Article 3, Section 3.07, and then just say this is added to it, is what the way it's going. But thank you for your comments.
Tim Laux.
Mayor Council, Tim Laux, 623 Neptune Drive. If I understand this ordinance, you're limiting it to 90 days after it's adopted. Okay. I'd like to recommend to the council to reconsider this. And when I was on this council, going through our codes, I found numerous conflicts in our codes, numerous duplications, and numerous codes that were so old Abraham Lincoln signed them. And we really need to allow the citizens, for instance myself, that knows the code pretty well, to be able to bring those forward to the council and the council reconsider them, because some of them are so horribly antiquated that they need to be stricken from the books. So I think you're on the right track, but I would expand this a little bit to allow older codes to come forward under the premise that the, you want to call it an applicant or the, whatever you want to call the citizen, the ability to logically and factually explain why they want it repealed or want it reconsidered. I think that'd be one of the criteria, and I think possibly the city manager staff or possibly the council could take a look at those reasons they think it need to be repealed and bring them forward. Let's try to get some of these things straightened out and modernize our code a little bit. A lot simpler than trying to rewrite the whole thing. It's similar to what Tim had done on our land development code, but this was citizens' input, because there is a lot of things in our code that really need to go away or be changed on it. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you. That's it.
Councilmember Carroll, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gaines?
Aye.
Councilmember Radzik? Mayor Kehoe?
Aye. So passed. Consideration for approval referendum ordinance 2025-15, compensation of the city manager, first reading.
Referendum Ordinance 2025-15, Compensation of City Manager, first reading. An ordinance of the City of Groveland, County of Lake, State of Florida, providing for amendment of the City of Groveland Charter to remove language in Section 4.02 that prohibits the City Council from reducing the city manager's compensation during the city manager's tenure, providing specifying requisite ballot language for submission to electors, requesting the supervisor of elections to place the ballot language on the ballot for the November 4th, 2025 general election, providing for severability and conflicts, providing for inclusion in the charter, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Comment or motion?
A motion. Go ahead. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the referral ordinance 2025-18.
15.
15.
Oh, I'm sorry, 15.
You skip ahead.
Thank you.
Sorry.
We have a second.
I second.
Any further discussion? Mr. Radzik? No. Any public comment?
Yes, Marty Proctor.
Thank you again for your patience. It's based on personal experience going through executive search for people to run departments, cities, municipalities, counties. These are very well compensated professionals. They're engaged in a career. This is not a job situation. This is not somebody going and applying for a job at auto parts store. This is someone who's in the middle of a career path. These people have to make a lot of decisions. I have seen examples where arcane requirements resulted in the best candidate available withdrawing from consideration because they live in Michigan, for example, Grand Rapids, just pick a place, Battle Creek, if it'll make you feel better, Ottumwa, Iowa, if it'll make you feel better. But the reality is those candidates are uprooting their lives, their families. They often move from far away. They're also disrupting their career. They're taking a significant chance. It's not like you change jobs where you can just get another job next week. These processes take a long time. And if you lose good candidates because of something like this, again, if I come here from Battle Creek, Michigan, with the expectation to make $27,000 a year or $270,000 a year, it doesn't matter. I expect to be able to make career-based decisions long-term in my life, in my family's life, and our choice of where we can and will live based on solid knowledge and evidence. I do believe that this is, again, if you were coming after me for this job, which you're, whatever the job is, which you're not, thank you, it would be a major negative for me as a candidate reading one sentence in that, because that's literally what this is about. This is about one sentence. Reading that in that contract that's going to be signed and agreed to as to where I can change my entire life, my career, and uproot my family. So I think this is where governance comes in. I do understand, again, listening to the people. This is a result of a charter committee that you put together, and it's good that you're taking their recommendations. But sometimes, as a board, you have to look beyond that and look at the governance of your city and the continuity and the ability to get the best possible candidates for whatever the position is. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Can I answer that? Because I was really behind that. I'm behind this one. Is the word compensation versus salary is a problem. Two, as many corporations as I've ever worked for, nobody had that sentence in their covenant. This should be in the standing operating procedures so that we can manage it better. If we wanted to give people bonuses, I could give them a bonus this year, but then I'd have to equal it next year, not based on performance, because I couldn't take compensation away. We couldn't vary it. So the word compensation is the issue instead of salary. That being in the charter instead of in the standard operating procedures is another big deal, because it allows us little flexibility and it allows candidates little flexibility. So it's, I think there's a difference between the two.
Right, that's kind of where I was going with that. I was also going to use the iPhone as an example. Like, if he has brand-new iPhone, the charter says we can't reduce your compensation. If a new one comes out, you have to have the new one because you have the new one. I think it's, taking it out of the charter is just procedural, I think. Like, putting it in that, like, in the actual contract with them, what those standards would be. It gives us a little more flexibility.
Thank you. I don't disagree. But again, I will go back to the original premise. My point on this is, if I'm your candidate, I would read this, and that would be a red arrow, as I have pointed out to each one of you in different times in our documents. That would be a red arrow to me that I would share with my family and say, well, this is a chance that we're taking. I'm not sure my family understands the difference between salary and compensation, and I do understand what you're describing, and it all makes perfect sense. I believe you have vetted this. I have a lot of faith in you guys. I just want you to hear the bad news about executive search is losing your best candidate because something obscure and something arcane is a very disappointing process. Because again, we're spending $35,000 or $70,000 of our community's money to do the executive search, and we're operating without a rudder for some period of time. Thank you again.
Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Jeff, can I say something to Marty? Can I address Marty? Marty, you know that we all appreciate and value your comments. You talked about the difference between a career and a job. I get it, about uprooting, etc. But you, as the applicant, have to mitigate your risk and decide if you, maybe even before you apply for the job, if that one sentence is going to stop you, then it's best for all of us that it be done up front before monies are expended for hotel travel or anything else. It's my point of view.
Thank you. So with that comment done, any public comment? Okay, let's take the vote.
Vice Mayor Gaines, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll?
Aye.
Councilmember Radzik? Mayor Kehoe?
Aye, so moved. Consideration of approval referendum ordinance 2025-16, restriction on contracting between the date of the election and the investiture of the newly elected council members. First reading.
Referendum ordinance 2025-16, restriction on contracting between the date of election and investiture of newly elected council members. First reading. An ordinance of the City of Groveland, County of Lake, State of Florida, providing for amendment of the City of Groveland Charter to include new subsection in Section 3.07 that prohibits the city from approving, executing, and renewing any contracts, agreements, or financial commitments during the period of the time between a city election and the official investiture of newly elected officials, except for emergency expenditures necessary for the continued operation of essential city services approved by the appropriate authority established by the City Council, providing specifying requisite ballot language for submission to electors, requesting the supervisor of elections to place the ballot language on the ballot for the November 4th, 2025 general election, providing for severability and conflicts, providing for inclusion in the charter, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Could I get a motion to accept?
I motion to accept ordinance 2025-16.
A second?
Motion and a second, discussion? Okay, any public comment?
Marty Proctor?
Okay. Seeing none, let's go ahead and take the vote.
Councilmember Carroll, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gaines?
Aye.
Councilmember Radzik? Mayor Kehoe?
Aye. So moved. Consideration of approval referendum ordinance 2025-17, citizen involvement, first reading.
Referendum ordinance 2025-17, Citizen Involvement, first reading, an ordinance of the City of Groveland, County of Lake, State of Florida, providing for amendment of the City of Groveland Charter to add a new section in Article 1 that describes the integral role of public engagement in the city's governance and establishes community member engagement as an essential element of healthy civil life and a thriving local democracy, providing specifying requisite ballot language for submission to electors requesting the supervisor elections to place the ballot language on the ballot for the November 4th, 2025 general election, providing for severability and conflicts, providing for inclusion in the charter, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to accept 2025-17?
I motion to accept 2025-17.
I second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion from the council? Any public comment? Seeing no public comment, let's take the vote.
Councilmember Carroll, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gaines?
Aye.
Councilmember Radzik? Mayor Kehoe?
Aye. So moved. Consideration for approval, referendum ordinance 2025-18, appointment of city attorney by the city council, first reading.
Referendum ordinance 2025-18, appointment of city attorney by city council, first reading, an ordinance of the City of Groveland, County of Lake, State of Florida, providing for amendment of the City of Groveland Charter to add a new section in Article 3 relating to appointment and removal of a city attorney by the city council, qualifications of the city attorney and duties, providing specifying requisite ballot language for submission to electors, requesting the supervisor elections to place the ballot language on the ballot for the November 4th, 2025 general election, providing for severability and conflicts, providing for inclusion in the charter, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to accept 2025-18?
I motion to accept 2025-18.
I second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion? Public comment? Seeing no public comment, let's take the roll call.
Councilmember Carroll, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gaines?
Aye.
Councilmember Radzik? Mayor Kehoe?
Aye. So moved, so passed. On to public comment. Public comment, general?
Thanks, Helfrich.
Farmer Banks, Helfrich, Claro District, South Lake County, farm tip of the day. This is the summer heated season for growing crops. Things you can grow and put in the ground are watermelon, black-eyed peas, sweet potatoes, okra, and peanuts, and actually loofah too. Mayor, council, distinguished guests, it's July. Happy birthday, America. We are 249 years old this month. We are the longest-serving current government charter in the history of humankind. And what does that mean to be an American? Well, each and every one of us in here, if you look to the person on your left or to the right, or you look at yourself in the mirror, we are all from somewhere else. Even the Native Americans came over on the Bering Strait many centuries before many of our ancestors came over, which makes us all immigrants. So what does that mean if we're all immigrants? We're all from someplace else. We live in this country. We are a melting pot of cultures, of peoples from everywhere around the world, from Mexico to Canada to Zimbabwe to Albania. We are from Africa. We are from Asia. We are a group of people, an experiment in how to live together, work together, govern together, and ultimately to love together. Our
Excuse me, order, please. I apologize.
That's okay. We have come together as a group, as a community. So the next time someone disparages an immigrant, remember that they are talking about us. I am Farmer Banks Helfrich. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Also, if you have any children or yourself, tomorrow at 2 o'clock, right here in this room, Jiggle Man will be here. Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
Tim Laux.
Tim Laux, 623 Neptune Drive, Groveland. Mayor and council, I've said tonight, and I've got to say, for the first time in 4 years, I'm proud of this council. I sat in your seat for 6 years. Turmoil came, turmoil went. But at the end of the day, the citizens are what matters. The people that make this room, that make these meetings possible, that pay our police department, our fire department, our building services, Mr. Maslow, city manager, everything to do with the city belongs to these citizens sitting behind me right now. Without these folks, we don't have councils, we don't have fire departments, we don't have anything. You know, the gentleman before me mentioned we're all immigrants. He's so right. I'm not a super religious man, but I do know this. I do know that God made human beings, every single one of us, regardless of where we're from, the color of our skin, our beliefs, or anything else. I had the opportunity in 1969 of attending a festival by pure accident. It was called Woodstock. It was in Bethel, New York. My brother was raising me. He was going to Woodstock, so I went where he went. What I saw was unique. I saw 500,000 people in a muddy field in Bethel, New York, all get along for 3 days with each other and know we're all not drugged up. I saw some of the greatest
Excuse me, Mr. Laux, I want to call a point of order.
Yes.
Let's talk about Aretha Franklin said.
Yes.
RESPECT. Okay?
Let's get through this, and then we'll deal with that.
Okay. I'm a little confused. Is this public comment?
It is. I was going to drop my bat.
Okay.
I was going to keep the noise down as you made your statement.
I see. Thank you. Anyway, what I saw there was a lot of people getting along. They were from every race, belief that you could imagine. I was 13 years old at the time. I've carried that with me throughout my entire life. As I said in the chair, Mayor, that you're sitting in, I believed in that. People come up, some were very nice, some were very ugly, some called names I had to go home and look up. But I still respected them. They were citizens of the city of Groveland. The action you took tonight was admirable, it was brave, and it was the right thing to do. Whether those were exact words or whether they weren't, the intent existed. And the intent existed in a very volatile time in the United States. We're living in a divided nation, and we shouldn't be, but we are. We can't change the nation, but we certainly can change the city of Groveland. We're not that big. We got 24,000 people. I don't think it's too hard for 24,000 people to get along with each other when I saw 500,000 do it for 3 days in a muddy field. So with that being said, you're headed in the right track. Some of the votes you took tonight were right on key. Even at my age, I've got hope for this city now. I didn't for the past 4 years. I really didn't. It was like walking into a robot factory where people just rubber stamped everything that was put in front of them. And that's not the way to run a city, but things are being questioned, things are being looked at now. And again, I want to thank each and every one of you for that. Mayor, council, have a good evening, and thank you for letting me speak again.
Thank you. Just 1 second. Ms. Fike, what is the issue here?
I do have a point of order. I have my attorney on the phone. If you could take the call. He has a question regarding how the suspension can be enacted and under what statute.
Okay, this will be something, why don't you take it up afterwards with our city council, but it's not a thing from the dais right now.
All right, well, I was asked to come back in and ask the question, so I thought that I would.
Please excuse yourself, and thank you.
Could you please cite the legal basis for that, please?
Can you please turn off the microphone over here? And Ms. Fike, can you please excuse this? There's a process that you can go through.
I said I will talk to the attorney afterwards, but I'm not going to do it during a public meeting.
I believe that's appropriate, not the place. Thank you, Ms. Fike.
Thank you. She'll talk to you after the meeting.
Sergeant at Arms, please.
I gotta go.
Please escort Ms. Fike out, please. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Ms. Fike. Okay, next public comment.
That was it?
That was it? Yes. Okay. Okay, we're on to council member reports. Ms. Carroll?
I usually take notes for my council reports. I did not this week. I was at the July 4th celebration. I was also at Scoops with the squad. And I think that's pretty much it. Keep it short and sweet.
Thank you very much for that, Vice Mayor.
I really don't even have a report.
Thank you very much for that. And I only have one request is thanks to everybody that made July 4th so spectacular. I had people calling me because and I'm looking at some of them right now, because the fireworks didn't quite go off on time. And somebody was saying, did you cancel the fireworks to pay for the fire truck? Honest to gosh, that's what they were saying. And then when the fireworks went off, I got more and more comments. It's the best that they've ever seen in Groveland or anywhere around. So when you see Mike Walker and you see the team, please tell them thank you, because it made such a big impression. They were out there getting rained on, and the thing went super. And I don't know if you've seen pictures with lightning going through the fireworks. It was a spectacular evening, and that's the one thing I want to say. And the second thing I would like to put on the agenda, ask for consensus to put on the agenda for the next meeting, is I've read, and keep me honest, City Attorney, I've read that we're supposed to be doing a 6-month review of the city manager. And I don't know that we have the process in place or we don't have the structure to do that. And so I'd really like to bring that back to the next meeting and say, what does this structure look like? How are we going to do it individually? Would that be appropriate?
So on the next meeting agenda?
Next meeting
That's fine,
agenda.
yes.
Okay. Could I get consensus?
Yes.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Mr. Radzik? Thank you. Okay. Mr. Acting City Manager, you picked a good week.
No report, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. City Attorney?
There are quite a few new laws that have gone into effect that affect the city. I've been sending updates to the staff. There are more to come, but just wanted you to know that I am sending those out, and we'll be sharing those with you as well. Thank you.
Very good. With that said, adjourn the meeting. Thank you.